If you could have seen the devastation, shattered hearts you'd leave behind, would you still have left this world that day? Would it have made you change your mind?
If it is not you, I don't want to pick the picture out. If it is not so, I would have liked it and put it there if I say it. No.
These pictures of Anthony have been hidden for over 22 years since he passed away. Revealing them today brings back painful memories. Anthony, who is an only son, committed suicide at 26. Anthony never had any suicidal tendencies.
I finished training him in the secondary school, and he told me that, Mommy, you want to go further his education. I said, you should not worry. I have to struggle, and he went to higher institution. When he went to higher institution, the son was with me here. So one day, after he finished school, but when he was going to the training, he went for aerospace. After he finished his education, because he's the only child I have, I told him he should marry. He said, Mommy, I'm too young, I cannot marry. Then he was trying to go to abroad. Then sometimes he called me and asked me, Mom, what type of car will I buy for you? Sometimes he will come to me and say, Mom, see, and I don't know that they have planned to kill this boy. When I want to go and see my mother during holiday, I have a small store here. The boy is staying there. When I come back, I don't know, he phoned me the next day before he died, he phoned me. I said, I'm coming, I'm not ready, I'm coming. Then the next day when I came, I was with one of my sister's child. I said, where's my son? He said, my son. He said, brother said we should not enter that room. I said, what is that? I was calling my son. I didn't see my son. I entered. I was calling my son. He said in that room, something touched me, my hand, and I see that my child is hung up. I asked the girl, what happened to my child? He said he doesn't know anything. I said, okay. I was shouting, my throat got dry. I don't know whether I'm naked even that time. So people came and carried the child. They brought police, and later the boy wrote inside his pocket. I asked them, I said they should give me the child. They carried the child in my hand as they carried Jesus in the hand of Mary. The child was in my hand. They said they want to go. I said, I'm going with my child. I hold the child. They were struggling with me. They took the child away from me. The letter, they didn't let me see the letter. They carried the boy to Gwagwarada. In Gwagwarada, that is where they tested that. They gave the boy poison to drink and they hanged the boy. And what the boy wrote inside the pocket, they didn't allow me to see it.
The incident has left a devastating effect on Anna, his mother. She has lost touch with reality.
When my mother had this and my sister, they said, I want to die. I said, leave me, God will do something in my life. If it is not God, I would have even jumped and entered this world and died. But just God hold me. God hold me. God would be. Even in the church, some people will say what Anna passed through. If she can survive, anybody can survive anything.
Anna lives here with her mother and Favor, a boy she adopted. She's vigilant. She gets frightened whenever he's out of her sight.
Favor! Favor! I don't want you going out. Favor, don't go out anyhow. Yeah?
Anna is an educator, but her mental state forced the public school where she works to find an alternative job for her to do. She runs errands for the school. According to the World Health Organization, in Africa, Nigeria has the 13th highest suicide mortality rate. It is, however, clear that the rise in suicide rates in Nigeria from 6.5% in 2012 to 9.9% in 2015 makes it a serious public health concern of national imperative. Depression has been identified as one of the determining factors that leads to suicide.
My name is Chisom Grace. I'm a clinical psychologist. Depression is a mood disorder. It's a mental health issue. It entails, or it's characterized by low mood, which sometimes could be persistent for 2 weeks. Someone who is depressed, oftentimes they tell you they've lost pleasure for activities which they usually do before. People who are depressed also, there are so many things that people who are depressed can come down with. Sometimes people who are depressed, either they sleep too much or they have less sleep. They eat too much or they eat little. Some persons who are depressed, oftentimes you even find them smiling even while they are depressed, while some are constantly crying. Depression is a mood disorder, and it's something that most persons are going through. The rates, do I call it rates? The rates say male to female, the ratio male to female. Female are prone to depression than male. You could highly tell that a female is depressed more than you could tell a man is depressed, because most men keep things that they feel to themselves compared to women who would always come out to say what they are going through. Remember I said depression has categories. So there's someone who is severely depressed, there's somebody who is mildly, somebody who's moderately depressed. Now, these depressions, depending on the category the person finds himself in, could actually lead to suicide. Sometimes people even commit suicide not because they are even depressed. It's more like an impulse thing. They just impulsively do something. Some persons self-harm. Self-harming is you trying to, there's an issue and you're trying to cut yourself or inflict harm or injury on yourself to bond the psychological issues you're having physically. Now, for somebody who is depressed, there are tendencies for them to commit suicide. We've seen people who, over the years, the rates of suicide has actually increased, and that's born to the fact that so many persons are going through depression, so many persons are going through a whole lot of issues, and they're not able to say this is what I'm going through. So because they're not even able to say this is what they're going through, they just feel, oh, let me just end it. And because let me just end it, it could just be them taking their life. And then depression, for persons who are depressed, they are very, very, very highly prone to suicide. They are very prone to suicide. So for somebody who is depressed, the first thing you want to be asking the person is, oh, how do you feel? What's going on with you? Do you want to talk to me? Do you want to talk about it? At this time, the person understands that, okay, someone cares. Then you could start hearing them say things like, oh, I am tired. I'm just tired of this life. I wish I could just leave. Suicide has been, before now, suicide is something people hide. People don't talk about it. But now, we are making efforts, right, to put it out there to help people understand what's going on. We need to create enough of awareness, not just awareness on social media. We need to go to schools. We need to talk to these pupils, talk to them, because the truth is they are going through a lot. Sometime back then, when growing up and you go to school, you find out you have a counselor in school, and then the counselor comes in once in a while and have talks with the pupils and the students and ask questions. But I don't know if it's still happening. They need to all governments, civil societies, even individuals, we all have our works to do. We need to actually go back to our drawing board. Awareness, we need to sensitize people, because most persons don't even know what to look out for. Then are there organizations that are just there primarily for I know I've seen 1 or 2 suicide helplines. When you see somebody doing something, I think is it money? Yeah, I've heard people come up to say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But the truth is, how we often just say we're doing things, but do we do them? Do we put them to use? Do we provide fundings for them, or do we just do it for the media? Now, if government is going to help in curbing, like I said, there has to be awareness, there has to be sensitization, there has to be funding. Every health organization needs to have an arm that deals with mental health, because mental health is still an aspect of health that is struggling. If not because of the whole pandemic last year, most persons didn't even know there were mental health institutions, even here in Abuja. Most persons didn't know that there were psychologists. People just felt like, oh, well, I could just talk to anybody. There is nothing. It's just when you go to the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, or when you go to Yaba Psychiatric Hospital, that's where. But we have other mental health institutions. We have organizations that are into mental health that are trying to help people understand what's happening.
This organization, Maggie Cares Foundation, is staging a walk against depression and suicide.
Hi guys, my name is Aigbepe Margaret, the founder of Maggie Cares Foundation and Maggie Global Consult. I initiated the WATS campaign. The WATS campaign is the Walk Against Depression and Suicide. In 2015, while I was still a banker, banking away my life, I got a call from my best friend then. They called me severally and I didn't take the calls obviously because I was overwhelmed with a lot of customers that I needed to attend to. So he dropped some text messages and told me that he wanted to reach me and it was very, very urgent. Well, I said, okay, when I get home, I'll get across to him and talk to him about a lot of things because I hadn't spoken to him in a long time. When I got home that day as a banker, Nigerian banker, I got back home 11 p.m. I was so tired, I slept off. The next morning, I said, okay, let me just have my bath. I would call him and talk to him. Probably we'll have a lot of catching up to do. And the next thing, my baby sister walks in and she says, Maggie, Big Things is dead. I don't know how I feel till date because I feel like there's a lot of things that he would have said to me and there's a lot of things that I would have said to him as well that would have as well changed his mind or something. And that for me is why I am working against depression and suicide. There's a regular adverbial phrase that we all use casually. They say, few are mad, but a lot of people are roaming. That's how depression is. Depression is very deceptive. It doesn't just show in people's faces. That means I could be looking all gorgeously dressed and I am very depressed. That is why we have to be calm and kind to people while we are dealing with them in conversations or anything. The very thin line between healing from depression and committing suicide is very tiny and very fragile. Give us your time. Talk to us. We all have ears to listen to. Even if we cannot solve your problem, we are assuring you that we would always give you one help or two. So the WATS campaign is about working against depression and suicide, making our voices heard around the world, around the globe. And we hope that with this we can achieve a whole lot, because we feel that when the news about suicide and depression is all over the places, people could be aware, people could come up and look for the kind of help that they need and they deserve.
Why we actually started up this work is to just create more awareness, because we got to understand that a lot of people have no idea about mental health. And people are actually taking it for granted. When someone comes up with an issue and say, okay, he's actually feeling down or he's been feeling depressed, the way people just react to it, they just overlook it and just wave it. But we want to create more awareness about mental health and this depression. We want people to key into it. We want people to listen to people that have been depressed, that are having issues emotionally, because it actually starts from there. So after this work, what we want to achieve is we have a counselor you can actually reach out to. We have people that you can call. We have numbers that we're going to give out. whenever you hear or you have an issue or you know someone that is actually depressed or going through such issues, you just reach out to those numbers. We call you, we see how we can support you, because a lot of these things are actually coming up because of either lack of finances, lack of jobs, and a lot of stories that you'd hear. So we have numbers that you could reach out to people and speak with them, and they'll encourage you. And we keep tabs. We don't just check on you once in a while. We keep tabs. We keep calling you, and we keep telling you reasons why you should stay alive and why you shouldn't allow this depression get the best part of you.